While the Yankees are off to a great start this season, sitting at first place in the American League East, they do have some serious roster questions. And one of those roster questions has to do with the back end of their rotation. Carlos Carrasco has been utterly atrocious for the Yankees, while Will Warren is still figuring out how to pitch at the big league level. And that brings up the question of whether the Yankees should try and shake things up in their rotation by potentially promoting someone from within to take one of their 5 starting spots. It's something that often requires teams to either A, have a really good feel for their prospects, or B, take a risk and take a gamble on a young player to see if they can sink or float at the big league level. But I believe that Cam Schlitler, who I ranked as my number 7 prospect in the Yankee organization, is capable of making that leap to the big leagues sooner rather than later, and should be given a look as a potential starting option for the Yankees this season. We're going to talk about that, some injury updates, and more right here on Fireside Yankees. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan Garcia. This is Fireside Yankees. If you guys enjoy this content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and check us out on all of your favorite social media platforms. If you're listening to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, download and leave a 5-star rating. All support, all engagement is really appreciated. We appreciate you guys for stopping by and tuning into the show. But with that all out of the way, let's get started talking about some of the injury updates that we've gotten from the Yankees. So Giancarlo Stanton was moved to 60-day IL, but that doesn't change his timeline for return. The 60-day IL is retroactive to the start of the season. So Giancarlo Stanton is actually eligible to return from the IL at some point in May, late May, early June. Now, when he's supposed to return has never really been concrete, but some reports have indicated right around Memorial Day, after Memorial Day, somewhere in that range. So again, late May, early June. And I expect that that's going to be the case, just given the fact that he's swinging, the fact that he hasn't hit a rehab assignment yet, and it's May 1st would indicate to me that he's not coming back in the next week or so. And Stan has been someone who doesn't really go on lengthy rehab assignments, which also makes me wonder if he's going to need one. He's a DH. He doesn't have to field. He doesn't have to build himself up on the field. He just has to build himself up to take at bats. I seriously doubt the Yankees will give Giancarlo Stanton a single inning in the outfield this year. So given that he doesn't have to be built up for it, I expect his rehab assignment to be pretty short and concise. I don't think he really enjoys being on rehab assignments either. And you know that at the end of the day, you're going to figure out what Giancarlo Stanton is at the major league level. And that's where you're going to get him to honestly have to work out through a lot of kinks. You know how he hits when he comes back from the IL. It's usually not pretty, but once he catches fire, he is explosive, dynamic, etc., etc. And Jazz Chisholm was placed on the 10-day IL retroactive to April 30th with a right oblique strain. This was after undergoing imaging in New York yesterday. So it seems that there is an injury here. It's a right oblique strain listed by the Yankees. The severity of the injury is unknown. The length in which he'll have to be on the IL is also unknown. But coming up in his place will be Yorbit Vivas, an infield prospect who has come out twice for the Yankees this year and last year, but has yet to make his major league debut. So I wonder if this will be the lane he needs to make his major league debut. Vivas is having a really strong 2025 season. He has a 139 WRC plus. He's hitting over 300. His on-base percentage is over 400. He has struck out in just 6.9% of his plate appearances, and he's in the 96th percentile in zone contact rate. Not a ton of pop, but you can expect a lot of contact, a lot of walks, a lot of patient at-bats. You're just hoping he provides you a good at-bat and a smooth defensive experience at second base, because you obviously know he can't provide the value that Jazz Chisholm does, but you just hope that the quality of at-bat is solid and that you maybe catch fire or catch lightning in a bottle for a couple of weeks and get a little bit of a spark plug. So with that injury stuff out of the way, let's get started talking about Cam Schlitler. Now, Cam Schlitler is someone who, again, I ranked as my number 7 prospect in the Yankee organization. He got a pretty significant boost this season from his preseason update ranking. Granted, part of that is does have to do with some injury stuff and with some graduations. Will Warren graduated from my list, and so did Jason Dominguez. Both guys were in the top 10. They're no longer in the top 10, so that artificially moves up Schlitler by 2 spots. The injury to Thatcher Hurd, I rank Thatcher Hurd ahead of Cam Schlitler. He did not make his pro debut this season because he underwent Tommy John surgery. That bumped him down in the rankings as a result because he's not going to be able to pitch in his first pro year. He'll have to wait another year. So I moved Schlitler up over him as well. But the others, there wasn't like that's, a 3-spot increase in ranking. That's a 6-spot increase in ranking. Part of this has to do with how well he's pitched in Double-A. He has a 67.8% strike rate, a 51.9% first pitch strike rate, a 47.8% ground ball rate, a 27.9% strikeout rate, and a 5.8% walk rate. He's averaging over 5 innings pitched per start. So he's keeping the ball on the ground. He's striking out a good amount of batters. He's not walking a lot of people. And another note here, a 0.33 home runs per 9. Cam Schlitler is not giving up the long ball. Another encouraging sign because he has really displayed the ability to be an elite damage preventer. And he's done it with an arsenal that has really evolved throughout the last few years with the New York Yankees. The right-hander was drafted in the 12th round of the 2022 draft, or in the 7th round, selected 220th overall, a big right-hander out of Northeastern College. But what ended up happening was he wasn't throwing very hard. He was throwing 90 miles an hour out of college, and he comes to the Yankee organization, and he just topped that at 98.8 miles an hour, his highest personal max velo. That came in his start in Somerset, a start I was present for a week ago, not his most recent start, which took place in Richmond. He did not pitch particularly well in that start, 4 runs allowed over 5 innings, but I think defense played a bit of a role in this. He gave up 9 hits. If you look at some of those hits, they weren't really rockets. Some of them were ground balls that got into the first baseman's glove or double plays that didn't get turned, et cetera, et cetera. The defense behind Cam Schlitler hasn't been particularly great, and the defensive numbers suggest that the Somerset Patriots are not really a great defensive team. And also you have to factor in that minor league defenders are just worse than major league defenders. But looking at that start he had in Somerset, he was utterly dominant. Let's roll the tape.
2-2 coming. Wave and a miss by Ward. Cam Schlitler fends his first batter of the ball game. Strike away from getting through the second. And Guerrero goes down swinging. There's the curveball from Schlitler. Yankees. 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The curveball for Schlittler is working early on today. Out at second base. The 2-2 is caught on and missed for strike 3. He got him. Swung on and missed for strike 3, and that ends the 4th. Schlitler gets the sign. The 0-2. Fastball right down the chute for strike 3. Pitch. That's outside. No, that's a called strike 3 from Schlitler. Oh, yeah, that's right down there for strike 3. A 2-2. Check swing and a miss, strike 3. Cam Schlitler strikes out his 9th batter of the ball game.
Yeah, so Cam Schlitler has been excellent since being moved up to Double-A. He was promoted last season after an excellent year with the Hudson Valley Renegades, who have been a pitching factory. If you guys haven't, please go to Hudson Valley, watch those guys play when they're at home, or if they're in Brooklyn and you're in the New York area, you can check them out too there because they do visit the Brooklyn Cyclones, I believe, twice or 3 times this year. And their rotation's great, but as it pertains to Schlitler, since being moved up to Double-A, he has a 3.49 ERA, a 2.95 FIP, a 3.07 expected FIP, a 28.7% strikeout rate, a 7.6% walk rate, and most notably, again, that 0.61 home runs per 9. He's not allowing a lot of damage contact. And he's playing in a ballpark in TD Bank Ballpark that does have some shorter fences in right to left field. There is a lot of, there's a lot of home run potential in that ballpark. So this is someone who's been able to limit damage contact a ton. Obviously, he's pitching against lesser talent in Double-A than he would be in the major leagues, but the Eastern League is no joke. It is chock full of some really, really, really good farm systems. You have the Red Sox, you have the Mets in the Eastern League, you have the Colorado Rockies, who had a lot of good Double-A hitters at that level this year and last year. You have the San Francisco Giants, who they play, and their top prospect, Bryce Eldridge, is in their lineup. There are some really, really strong farm systems in the Eastern League that the Somerset Patriots have to consistently contend with. The Nationals are another team as well that I did not mention. So there are a lot of quality opponents that he has to go out there and face. So relative to most Double-A pitchers, I would say Schlitler faces a pretty tough slate of teams. Another thing to note is that these teams are seeing him frequently, and that's something that benefits the hitter more than the pitcher. So, Schlittler's pitching against the same, 5, 6, 7 teams all throughout the season. It's not a 30-team schedule like in Major League Baseball where everyone plays everyone. Pitchers are being seen by these hitters very, very frequently. So the adjustment is something that, I think that hitters are able to make, but Schlitler has remained effective and if not, has only gotten better in his time at AA. So you aren't seeing teams kind of pick up on Cam Schlitler. You're seeing teams continue to struggle against him. Now, he doesn't have ridiculously high whiff rates. I will admit that, that's not part of his game. He's not going to, have a 35% whiff rate or a 30% whiff rate at the big league level. But that seems to be more of a limitation of his command. He seems to kind of be focused on trying to throw more strikes, but I don't think his in-zone command is particularly special. But I still think that the strike throwing abilities being where they are is important, and that the stuff is so good that he can invite hitters to make contact, and they'll probably hit a ground ball. And at the major league level, at the very least, those ground balls are going to be fielded and turned into outs. The Yankees are a really quality defensive infield. They have a quality defense as a whole, as a team. That's a departure from what he's used to in Somerset right now. Again, that plays a big role in kind of Cam Schlittler's ERA and FIP discrepancy. There's a 2.95 FIP, a 3.49 ERA since going to Somerset, a 1.31 WHIP. That's a product of the really high average allowed at 257. Again, 257 is kind of a high average nowadays. And again, you also have to factor in that it's for a pitcher who has had the success he's had. A 257 average is pretty high. So I think that's more of a product of, again, just not having a great defense behind him. But let's break down the arsenal here. So Schlittler's got a 4-pitch mix. He's a 4-pitch pitcher, 4-seam fastball, cutter, a sweeping slider, and a curveball. That sweeping slider just gets listed as a slider by StatCast, but I consider it a sweeper based on its movement profile. Not a lot of vertical drop, a ton of horizontal movement. He's got a really good feel for that slider. It's a unique pitch. It's got good ride for a slider, which can be tough for right-handed hitters to keep up with, and can oftentimes also present some issues for left-handed hitters. It plays really well off of that cutter because both those pitches have similar vertical break, but have massive discrepancy in horizontal break. His curveball is arguably his best pitch. It gets tons of depth. It has tons of lateral movement as well. This is a big, big breaking ball, big velocity separation off the 4-seam fastball. Really good weapon for lefties and righties. Can just spin it in the dirt, get swings and misses pretty consistently, but he can also spin it early in counts, get called strikes, and I ultimately think this is his best pitch in his arsenal, although I do go back and forth with that and his slider because he's got that hand of God slider, which is such a cool name for a slider that just has ride, but he's got 2 stellar breaking balls, one that plays well for lefties and one that plays well for righties. Although, again, he can kind of mix it up and throw both in any count, any situation, any handedness. His 4-seam fastball is probably the pitch that has come the furthest in terms of development. I would say he had like a 30, 40, 35, maybe 40 grade fastball if you want to be nice. Honestly, it was a 35 grade fastball. Like, it was 90 miles an hour, not a lot of ride, not a lot of movement, like just a really bad fastball. But the Yankees liked the mechanics, liked the frame, liked the way that Cam Schlitler moved, and they believed they could develop more velocity out of him. And they were correct because he is sitting about 95 miles an hour right now. A lot more vertical ride. He's got, about 16 inches of induced vertical break on his 4-seamer, which isn't special for his release height. Like, he releases the ball from a super high release point. He's a tall guy, so naturally his release point's higher off the ground than most. But because he does have some firm velocity, because there is vertical ride on this pitch, because it doesn't run a lot, it has some cut ride action to it. It can be a called strike machine. It can keep the ball on the ground. It can generate soft contact, and it can occasionally get some swings and misses at the top of the zone. So I would consider Cam Schlittler's fastball a 50 grade pitch now. If we're going to do pitch grades on all of his pitches, I'd give his fastball 50. I'd give his cutter about a 50 to 55. That pitch runs in on the hands of left-handed batters. Again, soft contact. Can kind of work at the bottom of the zone too because of that tight spin it gets. I'd give it about a 50, 55. The curveball, I'll give it a 60, 65, and the slider, sweeper, whatever you want to call it, I'll give it a 55 out of 60. So I think he's got 4 average to above average pitches in his repertoire, which is kind of the foundation for a starting pitcher. Now, Schlitler had been working on a splitter in the offseason, and he hasn't really thrown it much in the regular season, so I'm not sure if that's a pitch he's going to stick with. If he could develop a quality splitter, he would, I think, be a top 5 prospect in this organization and a potential top 100 prospect, but I'm going to settle for just a top 10 prospect, ranks him 7th again, and kind of view him more as a 45 to 50 FV prospect. Going to say 45, be a little more conservative here on that front. But yeah, I personally think that this is a starter who has the foundation to be a major leaguer. And when you look at what Carlos Carrasco brings to the table, I'm not really sure if the bar for Schlitler here is so high that he can't clear it. So Carrasco is bottom of the barrel in terms of stuff plus. He is one of the worst pitchers in baseball in terms of pitch quality, not factoring in location, just factoring in like how good an individual pitch is. If you look at pitchers with at least 20 or more innings pitched, Carlos Carrasco's 82 stuff plus is tied for the 3rd worst mark in Major League Baseball, and his pitching plus among pitchers with 20 or more innings pitched is, again, one of the worst marks in baseball at 91. So this is someone who doesn't have particularly good stuff. He has really bad stuff, and while his location plus is solid at 104, it's not utterly dominant. This is not, a top-notch, upper echelon, best of the best command kind of guy. He's just got above average command, and above average command paired with kind of 1st percentile, 2nd percentile stuff plus scores often results in a bad major league pitcher. Stuff is really important. Having good stuff is really important, but you could argue that, command still matters in this equation. And I agree. I value command a lot, but at the end of the day, having good stuff is important. You have to be able to sport an arsenal with pitches that can get big league hitters out. And Carlos Carrasco is fooling nobody with his stuff. His fastballs are brutally bad. His slider is very hittable when thrown in zone. His changeup is hittable when thrown in zone. He can't live in the strike zone with either of his fastballs. It is a truly, truly miserable experience watching Carlos Carrasco try and get through a big league lineup, knowing he's not capable of that. His sinker is probably his 2nd best pitch. I mean, it's been his most productive pitch outside of his changeup in terms of run value and weighted on base average. Well, the slider is getting a ton of whiffs, a 31.7% whiff rate. It's getting tattooed. Like batters have a 475 weighted on base average. They're slugging 767. They're hitting 333. He's given up 3 home runs on that pitch already. This is just not the kind of player that can compete at the major league level anymore. I don't believe Carlos Carrasco is a big league starter. And because of that, I think that you can view Cam Schlitler as this, hey, he may not be ready to dominate the big leagues. He may not be a top 100 prospect. He may not be a superstar, but he's capable of providing me more higher quality innings than Carlos Carrasco. He throws strikes at a decently high clip. He can live in the strike zone and get outs. He's got major league caliber stuff. He's pitched well at AA. AAA is going to be a little bit of a challenge for him, but he's someone who has enough experience at the upper levels of the minors that you can go, hey, if the stuff somewhat holds up, he should be able to deliver better innings than Carrasco and more competitive innings than Carrasco and pitch deeper into games than Carrasco. The one quirk that I really like here is the high ground ball rate. There are going to be starts where Cam Schlitler may not have it, but if hitters are hitting the ball on the ground, he's going to turn a lot of double plays. He's going to get a lot of ground balls. He's going to have a lot of outs. It's going to be an efficient performance. That's what Schlitler brings to the table. Really good damage prevention and an ability to get swings and misses that is far past what Carrasco's at this point in his career. Carrasco's swing and miss rates are just not really good at all. He's got a 22.6% whiff rate. That's in the 30th percentile. Even if Schlitler, you project him to be a below average bat misser, let's say he's in the 40th percentile whiff rate or also is in the 30th percentile whiff rate, he should limit more damage contact, or he should not be as prone to damage contact as Carrasco. And he should get more called strikes and he should get more chases out of zone. He should be able to operate a better strikeout to walk rate than Carrasco while simultaneously limiting more damage contact. And if you're doing those two things, you're likely a better starting pitcher. So I say all of this not to be disrespectful to Carlos Carrasco, but to acknowledge that he's not there anymore. Like this is no longer a major league caliber pitcher. And I think the Yankees need to be creative in trying to find ways to get him out of the rotation and do something else every 5th day to try and get through games. They're not winning these Carrasco starts. He's not providing competitive starts. He is a disaster to watch right now. He is not able to pitch deep into games. He's not providing the Yankees with much length. That's a killer for them as well. That's taxing their bullpen. He has completed 5 innings in an outing just 3 times this season. And granted, one of them wasn't a start, so I'm going to throw that out of the loop. I'm going to say in 50% of his outings, he's completed 5 innings, but he hasn't gone past the 5th inning more than once. He did that against Arizona. I know that Will Warren hasn't particularly pitched deep into games either, but he is a young starter and he has better stuff. So you sit back and you go, maybe there is something to figure out in this young pitcher. There's something you're really going to learn about 38-year-old Carlos Carrasco. And there is something to learn in 24 to 24-year-old Cam Schlitler, who does have a pretty high grade internally. The Yankees seem to like him a lot. So I think it's worth trying. He's got a big frame. He's got tons of extension, big fastball. Doesn't have the prototypical, like, big fastball traits, but it is a fastball that can get outs. He's got 2 excellent breaking balls, and he's got a cutter that I think he could really utilize for some soft contact as well. I think he'll throw hitters off with the way he can generate spin on his sweeper. He's got a funky release point. He's got a little bit of a flatter arm angle than most would expect for someone his height. He isn't super over the top, and I think that he can be an alternative and an upgrade to what the Yankees have in Carlos Carrasco right now. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below regarding Cam Schlitler and regarding the rotation. We'd love to get your thoughts and hear what you guys think. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, download, leave a 5-star rating, and make sure to check out our social media pages and empiresportsmedia.com for all of your favorite written coverage of all of your favorite New York sports teams. We've got our top 10 prospects dropping today. I did the list already. It should be published by the time you watch this video, and we're going to have a graphic to post on social media as well. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Let's go Yankees, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Perfect.